But once you're in this thing, you just don't know how it's going to turn. And the team that gets hot, the team that's playing well, you take care of the football this time of year, you're going to have a chance. And Green Bay's doing all the right things right now, and there's not a surprise that they won the game. They did more things well in that game and were able to come away with the win.
You were with Kyle and Matt LaFleur in Washington. Do you look at these two? I don't know. You're probably not looking at their offense real closely, but do you see a lot of the similarities in the way these teams operate?
Well, they do. I mean, their offensive coordinator, Stenovich, was here for the first couple of years with Kyle. Then you have Matt there, and I think with anytime when they were there with Aaron Rodgers, you're going to take some of what he did, some of what you do, and you kind of blend it together. Now, this is a little bit more along lines. There's a lot of similarities, although they've started from a different jump off. They started the thing with Rodgers, and now it's evolving a little bit more towards what I would think Matt would be. Not as similar to us, but there's a lot of things they do. It's really cool to watch what they do because all the teams from this tree, whether you look at Cleveland, you look at us, you look at all the teams that kind of run similar. When the Jets, when LaFleur was there, and down with Sean, and then everybody takes a spin with it. In fact, last year I was talking with Kevin Stefanski. I think it was a year ago, 2 years ago. I was trying to get recommendations to hire our assistant offensive line coaches, and Kevin said, it's always fun to see what each guy does with the system. When a new guy gets a job, Bobby Slowick now in Houston, you take every single one of these guys, Matt LaFleur, Kyle, Sean, everybody that gets their little piece. It's just a little different flavor, a little different spin, and that's what Matt has.
When you were on that staff, did you ever look around at all these young coaches and think, man, this is a pretty special group of guys, or was it more just, let's just have a good day at practice?
Well, no, it was like I told you, I think I've said this before, it's one of my favorite stories about Matt and Sean is I'm interviewing and I'm suited up and I got Kyle and Mike Shanahan sitting right where you guys are, right across this big staff table. I'm on the chalkboard and I'm sweating. Oh my gosh, here's Mike and here's Kyle, and I get my chance to interview with them. And then in the corner, there's these two guys sitting there with short haircuts, all buttoned up and young. I mean, young. And I'm wondering, what are they doing here? I'm here, I'm talking to Mike and Kyle, I'm trying to get a job, and it turns out it's Matt and Sean. And they look like the two guys I told you. They look like they're going to pick up the free agents at the airport, and then they're going to bring them back for meals. And literally, they're working their tails off. Matt's the quarterback coach. Sean's working quality control. And I just knew we had a special atmosphere. The group we had there with Coach Shanahan, how he built the thing, how he taught us all, how he tried to change the culture and environment there, then how Kyle was with his dad, and then how they trained. We worked all together to learn this thing, and then to put the thing together with RG3. That's when you kind of saw everybody kind of come into their own, when their own flair of creativity. And Kyle gives guys a lot of freedom. Hey, Matt, you're in charge of third down. Sean, you're in charge of red zone. Bring me your report before I delve into it. And seeing how they would come up with their own flair and spin on things. And some days it was, man, great job, Sean. Some days he yelled down the hall at Sean, what'd you do? Did you work out all day? You didn't do anything for my report here. It was Kyle, but it was the way we all got better. Kyle held us all accountable and did a real good job, as did his dad, and that's kind of how the thing grew.
Debo just did something that only Charlie Taylor had done before in terms of rushing and receiving yards his first 5 years. With Debo, is he just such a natural talent that when you're putting in run game stuff, that you don't necessarily have to be as finite with him on the detail? I know your run game is very detailed. I'm just curious how different it is maybe when you work with Debo.
Yeah, there's some things that obviously he is so talented. You get the ball in his hands, and there's a lot of good things can happen. But there are certain plays that require a few more reps as a running back, and others don't require. So we do lean on the ones that maybe don't require as many reps. Not that he can't read it or doesn't read it. He's just not going to get the work at it, because by the time you work at receiver, you do everything that you do there. By the time you do the blocking that we need to get done with the game, and then you give him some handoffs as well. There's only certain things you can do. So you try to keep the focus on things that don't require quite as much, but there's certain things he likes and is good at, and whether it's done perfectly or not, he finds a way to get yardage out. I remember against Green Bay up there a few years ago, we ran a play at the end of the game to ice the game, no pun intended, but he ran through there, and it wasn't blocked well. It was a very poorly executed play, and Debo found a way to get us a first down, and if that was the end of the game, we're a victory from that point forward.
What kind of advantage does it give you guys to have the interchangeability of Debo and Christian and what they can do?
All those guys, man, it's great. I mean, every single guy that goes in the game, it's a little bit different between JP, between Mitch, and then you have Christian, and you have Debo, and all those guys when they handle the football and what they do with it. Shoot, even Ray when you've seen him handle the ball at times. Anybody that can touch that football, we've just got a lot of guys with the ball in their hands, a lot of different ways to get it to them. The creativity that Kyle uses and the other coaches use to help get these guys involved. It's a great advantage to be able to do that. So it's not always going to be Christian. Christian may be lead blocking. We've talked about it before. It's just it's a great advantage. I don't know how it affects the defense. It is a great way to get everybody involved in the offense.
Cowboys had a check at the line of scrimmage early in the game where you could hear Dak Prescott on the TV copy saying false Shanahan. It was a run play to Pollard to the left. Does that mean anything to you?
Well, I'm assuming Shanahan, it was an outside zone play, so the Shanahans have been known for the outside zone running game, so I'm assuming. And then the L word, someone there probably meant their code word for running the play to the left. So I'm guessing, if I were guessing, I don't know anything about it. Was it fall? Was that the word? False, yeah. So false Shanahan would be we're running left Shanahan or something. Who knows what all their code words are? I'm sure they have a ton of them, and they're ones that I can't spend time breaking. But that when I heard Shanahan, I said, I bet it's an outside zone. And I was sitting there watching with my son. Well, sure enough, it was. So yeah.
Feliciano or Burford at right guard, or can you say?
We're working right now. You know, John had some. We're working through some things last week of the season. I think we're going to see you'll see some of both guys in the game as far as who starts and who doesn't. Although I'm not sure at this point. I think we're working out through the week, and it could be a hot hand thing. Could be a let one guy just go with it and see. I don't know. We're still both guys have been working, and we got to have flexibility in there. My thing is that with our, Banks has had some things this season. So the flexibility of John being able to work all the positions, that's always going to leave us a little bit making sure that John's ready at all the spots. He's the backup center. He's the backup left guard. So that always weighs into our equation a little bit. So we've got to keep some flexibility there.
Wrong question, but how valuable is Kyle Juszczyk to what you guys do as an offense in general?
Kyle's very, 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 he's instrumental in so much that we do. I think that you have to deal with the fullback. You're saying, okay, the fullback running game. Then you can put him as a tight end position. Then you can put him in the backfield on third down. Then you can split him out, and he can run routes in our route tree and do everything instead. He can run down the field and catch passes. He's not a great matchup at times for linebackers to cover. So that flexibility, all that we can do with him, plus having him dot the I, be the fullback in the I formation, gives us a great deal. And as I've stated in here, we've talked about this before in here, how the fullback position, the guy in the backfield allows you to cut the defense in different ways. So everything he can do in the run game, protection-wise, everything he does, just very flexible. And really, really such, again, it's forget where he went to school. He's a really smart football player. And the guy's really, really does a great job of sometimes kind of helping the other guys put everything together and sees the play and understands it. And he understands the intent of the play. So not only does he execute what we ask him, he executes it pretty cool too. He does it in a good way.
Chris, four different teams have run for 200 yards against this Green Bay defense. I would imagine you watched those films. Is there any common denominators in any of the success against their run D?
Yeah, and, every team can have its day on offense or on defense, and I think that what happens is all it takes is a couple big runs, and you pop a big run or two, and that can happen. And so that's what ends up happening. I mean, a couple years ago, we ran for a lot of yards against the Vikings in the first round playoff game, but we didn't have a run over 7 yards. And it was hard to get a big number. Whenever you have a big day running the football, there's going to be some explosive runs in there somewhere. And when you get those explosive runs, did it happen because of a missed gap, missed tackle, great block play, good design? There's a lot of different reasons that plays like that can happen. I don't know offhand exactly what they would be. Obviously, we're going to look at what we think we can have success within our package and what they do. And and as I told my guys the other day, man, it's playoff time, and expect the unexpected. What you think you're going to see, you may not see. What you've prepared for all week may not happen. So you got to rely on your 18 weeks, 17 weeks, of playing football games and how you've worked together as a group to build on that and get yourself ready for whatever they may bring, and hoping that you can have that kind of success running the football.
All right. Thank you, Coach.
Thank you, guys. Appreciate it. Let's hope to see you next week.
Good day of practice today. Guys are locked in, they're focused, and they should be. You know, it's postseason play, and we're excited about where we are. We understand it's do or die. You got to win or you go home. So we got a difficult task this week. The Packers are a real good football team, and they showed that last week against the Cowboys. I think their run game is probably top notch right now in how they're performing, and moving the ball down the field, offensive line, controlling the line of scrimmage in so many different ways, buying time for Love to get the ball down the field off play action. But Jones and Dillon, they're running the ball at a high level. The receivers are playing great, with Reed leading the charge there. So a lot of respect for those guys. They're well coached, and again, it's going to be difficult, but we're looking for the challenge this week.
Jordan Love started off the season a little slow. He's been really hot in the second half of the season. How good is he really, and what's the key to defending him?
I think he's real good, and I think a lot of part of the season maybe he was maybe twice or maybe three times NFC Player of the Week. So he's doing some great things, and I think number one, he's protecting the ball and he's putting the ball where it needs to go. You think about a young guy like that, and you forget that he's really played behind Aaron for 3 years. So he's learned a lot. He's mature. You can see that on the field. Even when you think about, okay, here's a guy that I'm going to try to go pressure, where his percentage rate against pressure is pretty high. So he does a great job in getting rid of the ball.
How do you disrupt the rhythm he's in? He's in an incredible rhythm. You guys did this against Lawrence, I think, coming out of the bye, took him out of rhythm early in that game. How do you try to take a quarterback out of rhythm when he's really in one?
Well, I think the number one thing is we have to try to stop this run, to try to make him one-dimensional. When they're very effective running the ball, I think it just opens up the play action, and that's where you see him being extremely effective in taking his shots down the field and finding an open receiver. So that's number one. And then, again, we just got to try to mix things up on him a little bit, to give him something to think about and figure out where he needs to go with the ball.
In the past, Matt LaFleur would sort of build the offense along with Aaron Rodgers, with Rodgers' input. Now it seems like this is really LaFleur's offense. What's the hallmark of it? What do you see from it, and how similar is it to what you do here?
Well, I think you can see he's doing an excellent job. Number one, he's committed to the run game. That's the consistency there. I think at times when you have a first ballot Hall of Famer, a guy like that who can throw the ball 55, 60 times to go win your games is different. But now, not saying that Love can't do that, but, LaFleur is dedicated and committed to running the ball, and it shows, which allows and opens up different things for the offense to be, very productive. So I see that being the difference.
Love's doing one thing that's kind of unique, Steve. He's dropping back at the top of his drop. He's starting to fade away to buy himself a little bit more time, and it's been effective for him. Is there a counter to something like that? And what have you thought when you watched it?
Well, it's no counter there. That's somewhat what I was alluding to where him being able to come up behind Aaron for those last 3 years. That's one of the things that Aaron was very effective with, drifting a little bit, buying time, and he has an arm strength. Love, I'm talking about, to still get the ball down the field. You saw that with zero pressure against the Cowboys, and he hit that, what I call that Dino post for the touchdown in the red zone. And, we got to do a great job on the back end plastering, what we call right now really latching on to our receivers. He's going to do a great job buying time. He can do that with his feet. He's not looking to run. His eyes are still down the field trying to be effective and get the ball thrown. So that's number one. And then, two, we got to win up front. Our front four got to do a great job in getting out to this quarterback.
Aaron Jones, I believe, has had 400-yard games in a row. What does he do well? How good is he?
He's real good. He runs behind his pads. He can run in between the tackles. He can really jump set and get the ball to the perimeter defense, and that's a point of emphasis, each and every week, but particularly this week as well. We got to do a great job setting edges. And I think, again, running behind his pads, he does a hell of a job in really making the first guy miss, after contact. So we got to do a great job with 11 guys swarming and getting to the ball.
Brown's coming off the knee sprain. How's he looked in practice? And is that a decision you got to make? Decide one or the other there? How do you view that?
Well, again, they both are looking well in practice. Jair's bounced back, as you just talked about. He's looking good. Logan has been consistent. They both dealing with a little bit of injuries and whatnot, but thus far this week, I haven't seen any setbacks, so that's encouraging. Logan is a guy that's been there. He's had the experience. He's played in 2 Super Bowls. Postseason is something that's just not unusual to him. But also, when you look at Jair, it's not too big for him. Being able to come in and fill the shoes of Huff, all-pro player that went down, unfortunately, Jair didn't blink, and he's doing a great job. So it's good to be in that situation to have these guys available.
Do the Packers have a go-to receiver in their passing game that you must account for, or do they sort of spread it around?
They spread it around, but, I got a lot of love for all those guys. Reed is one that shows up quite a bit, particularly, jet sweeps and those kind of things, reverse. So they all are very talented and can really, as I call right here, get their share of plays at any time.
That might be a big factor in this game is they have so many young receivers. You guys have so many young DBs. You're a DB coach. Womack, Luter, and all your backup DBs. How do you feel the group's coming along, Steve, and how do you feel like you match up on the back end in this matchup?
I think we match up well. I'm very pleased with how the guys have been playing. We've got to be consistent throughout this performance in this game and throughout, postseason. But it starts here with this game first, allowing us to be able to proceed and move on. Our front seven has always been, the focal point of this defense for years, and see the way the guys are stepping on the back end has been great. But the key thing for us this week is, we got to go out and make plays. We can't give up any big plays. We got to keep the ball in front of us. We got to find a way to take it away.
You mentioned Jordan Love can extend plays with his legs, and he's not looking to run, but he is looking to throw. How big of an emphasis is it this week for you to keep him in the pocket, or can he beat you there too?
Well, it's always a big emphasis if we can try to contain the quarterback and not allow him to be able to have that extra time. So that's something where I do a great job of up front. Again, with our different, stunts and line movements, and Kasek does a great job of really orchestrating all that. And our guys, again, Eric's back. Exciting to see him back at practice and how he's moving around. So that physical presence inside, and then, both from the outside. We got to do a great job containing this guy and really trying to get pressure and sack him.
They got 2 starting tight ends in Musgrave and Kraft. How's Greenlaw looking, and do you see him matching up with these guys? I know he's had some Achilles pain. How's he looked with you guys gave him a couple weeks off?
He's looking good. I mean, he's up here, what I call ready to go. Greenlaw, to me, is just one of those warriors, man. He's going to be ready to play at any time. We got to make sure we protect him against himself. So yesterday he had some time off, and today he was back at it, and he's going to be ready to play. I have no reservations about the matchup with him nor Fred, on their tight ends. And as you've seen us in the past, we run with receivers down the middle of the field as well. So these guys are very talented, and again, it's going to be a tough task for us. Appreciate it. Thank you.
just yesterday you were in a playoff game in the divisional round, but yet also a long time ago at the same time.
Yeah, no, it's been a pretty quick year. Feels like we were just in the playoffs and like we were just in Philly and all that, so it's gone fast.
Have you ever met Jordan Love? How familiar are you with his game?
I haven't met him. I know guys that have, and everyone respects him. I respect him, obviously, for what he's done and just the situation that he's been in, you know, playing behind Aaron for a number of years and then coming in and you know, sort of proving to himself and everybody, like, who he is. So definitely respect his story and his game and everything and how he's handled himself. So, yep.
Do you think feel different this year, just having had playoff experience last year, having gone through it, and then now having that under your belt going into your second time around?
Yeah, I feel like it's a little different. You know, just last year, you know, still trying to find my way in a sense. You know, I got thrown in towards the end of the year, and so every single week I was, you know, still trying to play good and learn, you know, who I was as a quarterback and obviously get more familiar with playing within the system. So those are all things that were sort of on my plate last year, and then obviously trying to win every single week and get this team to the end. And so now, I guess this year, just being more familiar with the offense, who I am, and all that, it's a little different. But it's good to sort of, you know, watch the games from last year and sort of remember, you know, just the feeling and the emotions of, you know, playing in a playoff game. It's good. It's you know, huge for me as a quarterback to, you know, go back to those moments and sort of remember what it feels like. So those are things that I'm sort of banking on.
What did it feel like?
Yeah, I feel like, you know, the first game was a little bit tense, you know, just in terms of, you know, every play mattered, you know, not trying to turn the ball over, but at the same time, you know, making plays still and winning and doing what it takes to win. So those were things I sort of had to learn, you know, and watching the film. It's sort of, you know, you get back into that feeling of last year and the first time in a playoff game. And so it's sort of good to remember those kinds of things moving forward, you know, sort of understanding what to expect, you know, for the first playoff game this year for me.
At what point in the game on Sunday did you kind of feel like, okay, we are going to be playing the Packers, and start to wrap your head around that?
I mean, you never know. You know, at the end, the Cowboys were making a push, and so you never really know. But, you know, after they got up, and then the third quarter, they were up pretty big. I was like, okay, I think this is going to probably be the team. But like I said, you never know. And the Cowboys started to come back, and it was all right. And so you're just watching, and then, you know, obviously the minute the clock's hit 0, it's like, all right, let's go. It's going to be the Packers. So it was a great game to watch, and you know, they came out ready to play against the Cowboys, and man, did they played really well. So yeah, I guess third quarter-ish, I started thinking we're going to play the Packers.
We watched tape of when the 49ers played in Lambeau a couple years ago in the playoffs, and do you remember maybe watching it live, I guess, when you were at school?
Yeah, all I remember in that game in college was the end, like the block punt and all that kind of stuff. It was crazy, and it just being really cold. But we've watched a couple plays and stuff from that game, and sort of just seeing the environment, playoff football in Lambeau with the snow and all that. I mean, what a crazy game. So, but yeah, just the history of these two organizations and the playoff games and stuff. It's pretty cool to you know, say that I get to play in that game now. So I'm excited for it.
Kyle said that he worked you pretty hard during the bye week. What was the process? What kinds of things did you guys work on? Did you feel like it was a productive use of your time? Yeah,
it was a great off week. Obviously, it wasn't like, you know, you're gonna have a bunch of days off to just go do whatever you want. Like, it was, you know, we came in every day, got good work in. Still obviously getting after it with the playbook and little fundamentals, you know, for myself that I need to get better at, you know, that have popped up on film and stuff throughout the year. So we just want to keep hammering away at those things, and then just getting in that, you know, competitive nature with our defense. Obviously, Fred across on the other side of the ball and competing, and so we definitely got some good work in, and you know, Kyle and Greasy and all those guys pushed us on offense, you know, throughout the week. So I thought it was a really productive week.
No discount to your scout team, but how much more do you get out of going up against the ones?
Yeah, it's huge. Obviously, they fly around. They're really disciplined with their drops and stuff. You got the crazy defensive line that we have, and they're push in the pocket. So you put all those things together, man, it's really good work that you can get out of it. So and then obviously just the like I said, the competitive nature. You know, you feel your blood starts to pump a little bit when you're going against Dre and Fred and Bosa off the edge and the secondary that we have. So it's always fun.
Brock, you said after the Ravens game that you let some of the, just hype around that Lamar Jackson and you beat affect you. Can you say, like, specifically, how does it affect your preparation? Does it affect just the way you played it in the game? And does that experience help you going into this, another big primetime play?
Yeah. I mean, yeah, just it being a primetime game, Christmas Day and all that kind of stuff. And then, we sort of had 2 really good plays in the beginning of the game and the stadium's feeling it. Everybody's feeling good. And then, boom, you make a mistake. So, like, it's something for me, it's huge to be able to get in that kind of moment and remember those kinds of things for as tough as they were and how bad as I felt after. Man, is that kind of stuff, it can help you if you allow it to go back and watch it on film and be real with yourself about those moments and what it takes to play quarterback at this level and be successful and play consistently and make the right decisions consistently. So those are all things that I took account from that game that I think I got better at. And honestly, we're going to find out, the playoffs coming up and in this game. So, yeah, I thought I took some stuff away from it, but at the end of the day, we're going to find out on Sunday or Saturday.
4 touchdowns at a way higher percentage on your first possession than any other possession in the game. Kyle says he doesn't care one way or the other. He thinks they're all important. But do you feel any different on the first possession? I mean, how do you account for the fact that you guys have been so good on scoring touchdowns the first time you get the ball?
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of things that go into that, but I mean, I think at the end of the day, it's football. It's a physical sport, so I mean, we're all juiced up and ready to go for the first drive, and just our mindset with getting on a team, pretty quickly and doing the little things right from the jump. That's a big emphasis that we have here, so that's something I think we've done well. And then obviously our scheme and stuff, the plays that we know we're going to call for the first drive, those are all things that you can prepare for, and it helps you out as a player. So I think all those things added up together. That's why you've seen us, I think, have success early on. So we got to – I mean, honestly, every drive matters, just like Kyle said, man. So is that something that we got to go into the game, say we have to? Like, every game's different. Obviously, we want to score every time we touch the ball, but, yeah.
Brock, what do you take away from your sit-down with Steve Young, and did you consider that informative or useful in any way?
Yeah, I thought it was awesome. Obviously, he was sort of, asking me some questions and stuff about, my process, how I think and all that. But, he had some really good just ideas and things that he said and good perspectives on just the game in general. And so you can tell, obviously, he was successful just by the way he thinks and how he views life and stuff. I think all of that put into one, man. That's the reason why he is the way he is. And so to be able to sit down with him, I was very honored. And, yeah, I thought it was pretty cool that he was asking some really good questions, not just the generic stuff. So, and then after getting to be able to talk to him and just talk about ball and everything, and the fact that he has my back and supports me and what I'm doing is pretty cool too. So it was sweet.
How much taller are you than Steve?
Am I taller? I don't even know that.
I think you are.
Yeah, maybe an inch. I hope so. I don't know.
What are your thoughts on your younger brother coming to the Bay Area? Assuming he's still coming to San Jose State.
Yeah. I mean, obviously there was a lot of the whole coaching turnover thing that just happened with, the head coach going to Arizona. So he's going to, sort of just, I don't know, he's feeling it out still. And he's got some decisions to make, and I'm really excited for him and happy for him either way. So, but yeah, if he can be in the Bay, that'd be pretty sweet. Have my brother here.
Green Bay's defense had a couple interceptions against Dallas. They didn't really have too many in the regular season. Did they show anything differently in how they played Dallas, or maybe played more aggressively? What did you see in that department?
Yeah, I mean, I think there were just some really good plays made by their DBs. Jair Alexander with his ball instincts on his one interception, and then number 26, Savage, coming down and making a good read on Dak and jumping a slant. I think, I don't want to, say anything on their behalf, but I mean, it looks like it's playoff football, man. They're aggressive in what they're doing, and when they see an opportunity, they're willing to, like I said, be aggressive and take it. So those are all things that I think we have to take account. And for myself, obviously with the ball in my hands every play, so they're guys that can make plays, and I have to understand that. So it's going to be a really good challenge.
Brock, after
playing out Week 18, how excited or how much are you itching to just actually get back out there and to gain action?
Yeah, I mean, it was weird, seeing the whole team and all my guys, dressed out, warming up for the game and stuff. And I was like, man, I wish, I was able to do it with them and stuff. So I'm glad, honestly, that we were able to get through that, and I was able to practice with them this week, and I'm playing this week. So I'm really excited about that, but it definitely was an itch for sure. But at the same time, being able to see the other guys get opportunities to go in and play was huge, and watch them play, it was sweet. So, but definitely ready for this one.
How much did you lean on?
You said you guys will have animated sideline conversations. I mean, not like screaming at each other or anything, but it gets tense and tight, and you kind of figure out what the next step is, or how to adjust. I guess, what are those like, and do they get, I don't know, heated isn't the right word, but kind of what are the exchanges like during the heat of a game?
Yeah, I mean, at the end of the day, we want to win, and we're competitors at heart. He played this position. He played it well, and so he gets it. And, we're obviously very hard on ourselves at the quarterback position, and we have a standard that we have here. And whenever I'm not playing at a level that I should be, he's the first to tell me, which I love. And, as a quarterback, I want a coach who's real and holds a standard and doesn't allow any, room for error and doesn't have any slack on us. If that were the case, man, I don't think I'd be playing good football. I wouldn't be able to play at my full potential. And he helps me get to that and centers me back on the mindset that we need to have. And honestly, he lights a fire, in me throughout the game too, and reminds me of, the competitive nature that we need to have, even though we're quarterbacks and stuff. Like, we're the guys that can bring the juice to the offense. And so he's done that a lot throughout the year, and I respect that a lot from him. So anytime there's some animation on the sideline between us, it's, I think, a good thing too. So.
Sitting out last week, did you and Christian lean on each other? It seemed like you both had that mentality of really, really wanting to play, but you knew that you couldn't. I mean, did you guys lean on each other during that?
From Week 18 you're talking about? Yeah. I mean, Yeah. I mean, I think, we had talked about it throughout the week and stuff, and obviously we understand what the end goal is and the big picture of things. And so for him, obviously getting his body healthy and right, and then obviously keeping me healthy going into playoffs as well was huge. So those are things we both understood, and we both hammered away at, the little things throughout the week. Obviously he came back looking great, at practice and stuff. So, but that's a professional right there. You understand what we're trying to do. Obviously we understood we had the first seed locked up, and to go out and play for our team was awesome every opportunity we get. But at the same time, we both understand that we have to be healthy, going into playoffs. And so having his advice and help throughout that time was huge too. And but we're both excited to obviously get through that and be healthy for this game. So we're excited for the opportunity. Thanks, guys.